There are moments in history that are whispered rather than shouted, moments that pass unnoticed by the many, yet forever shape the few who endure them. In the frozen expanse of the Arctic, where the horizon blends seamlessly with an indifferent sky, one such moment waited quietly beneath the icy waves. It was a place where ambition faltered, where arrogance cracked like ice under pressure, and where skill, quiet, disciplined, patient, could claim victory over those who relied solely on rank and reputation. Mara Donovan had long understood this. She was young, almost unremarkable in the eyes of her peers, yet her hands carried the precision of a surgeon and the patience of a monk. Her calm, deliberate movements betrayed nothing of the storm of calculations running in her mind. Every twist of a valve, every careful adjustment of her dive gear, every breath she measured and memorized, spoke of an understanding forged from years of disciplined practice. The Arctic Recovery Unit was her new assignment, a small, elite team of Navy divers tasked with inspecting wrecks that had claimed careers and lives alike. This wasn't Mara's first dive, far from it. But the stories surrounding the mission that awaited her tested even the most seasoned professionals. They whispered of the Frostbite wreck, a sunken vessel trapped in a labyrinth of collapsed corridors, where air pockets shrank with terrifying unpredictability and past teams had disappeared without a trace. It was said the wreck haunted anyone who dared its depths. Captain Jackson, a veteran diver known as much for his unyielding discipline as his near-mythical endurance, had been assigned to oversee Mara's first mission. To the untrained eye, he was merely a strict superior, but those who had worked with him knew a deeper truth. He believed that true skill could only be revealed when an individual was tested against the impossible. And tonight, beneath the ice, he would issue a challenge that no one else had survived. The team had gathered on the deck, watching the frozen expanse with the uncertainty that comes from fear disguised as caution. The Arctic wind bit through their layers, reminding them that survival here was earned, not given. Mara, however, moved with purpose, her mask and fins ready, her equipment meticulously checked and double-checked. She gave no thought to hesitation or doubt. She trusted her preparation. She trusted her instincts. And above all, she trusted herself. "Frostbite awaits," Jackson said, voice low, carrying the weight of authority and expectation. He handed Mara the dive schedule, almost mocking in its impossibility. "You'll decompress on a timetable designed to break experienced divers. If you fail, the wreck claims more than your pride." Mara's eyes met his, not with defiance, but with a steady, unshakable certainty. She did not flinch. She did not speak. She simply nodded, acknowledging the challenge without fear, without ego. The descent began. Cold pierced Mara's suit almost immediately, the Arctic waters sharp enough to steal her breath if she moved carelessly. Her team hovered behind her, hesitant, unsure, their lights flickering like fireflies against the darkness. She navigated the narrow corridor of the wreck with the deliberate care of someone tracing an intricate map, every handhold calculated, every kick measured. Captain Jackson's challenge was relentless. Her decompression schedule demanded pauses at intervals that felt almost unbearable in the icy silence, each one a test of will, endurance, and precision. One miscalculation, one misjudged breath, and disaster would strike. The wreck's interior groaned under pressure, metal straining as if alive, the faint crackle of collapsing beams echoing through the water like a sinister warning. Then came the moment. The narrowest passage buried beneath tons of frozen wreckage. Mara paused, assessing her options, reading currents that whispered through the tunnels like invisible hands. Her heart beat deliberately, each pulse a metronome for the calculations running in her mind. One wrong move would trap her beneath tons of steel. She adjusted her buoyancy, aligned her body, and propelled herself forward. The passage seemed impossibly tight. A sharp crack rang out as a piece of wreck shifted slightly, too close for comfort, but Mara's calm focus did not waver. Her fingers brushed the metal walls, guiding her as if she were part of the wreck itself. Time slowed. Every sound, the rushing currents, the distant groan of the vessel, even the faint whistle of her own breathing became amplified. Jackson's gaze, though invisible through the water, was present in every careful movement she made. And then, as if the wreck itself acknowledged her mastery, Mara emerged into the cavernous hold where the survey equipment waited. She deployed the sensors and cameras with flawless precision, completing a task others had failed in countless attempts. Silence followed. a silence so complete that even the crackling of the water seemed to pause. When she finally looked toward the opening, she saw the faint, approving nod of Captain Jackson, the first acknowledgement of a skill that had proven itself beyond doubt. Mara's ascent was cautious but unbroken. Each decompression stop tested her discipline, yet she met each with the same meticulous attention that had carried her through the labyrinth. As she broke the surface, gasping for the sharp Arctic air, her team stared, speechless. Some could not mask their awe. Others tried to dismiss it with forced laughter, but the truth was undeniable. She had completed what no diver before her had survived intact. Captain Jackson rose from the edge of the deck, arms crossed, his eyes heavy with the weight of experience and recognition. "You followed the schedule perfectly," he said, voice low, almost reverent. "Most would have panicked. Most would have failed before the first decompression stop. You did not." Mara's gaze remained calm, but beneath it lay the quiet relief of someone who had been tested against the impossible and had not faltered. The team gathered, their whispers a mixture of awe and disbelief. Stories of past missions, of divers who had perished in the wreck, circulated again. Only now they were paired with Mara's name. A new legend had been born, and it was not proclaimed with banners or fanfare. It was whispered, carried in the unspoken respect of those who had witnessed true mastery. Jackson approached her, lowering his voice. "Why did you trust yourself when everyone else hesitated?" Mara hesitated for a moment, reflecting. "Because preparation never lies," she said softly, "and skill, when truly honed, speaks louder than fear." He nodded, eyes narrowing thoughtfully. "Remember this. Authority can demand obedience, but it cannot grant mastery. That comes from within. Today you have shown that skill and patience, discipline, can defeat fear, arrogance, and the impossible itself." Other divers approached, some seeking guidance, others simply to witness her presence, to feel the quiet aura of someone who had faced death under ice and emerged with mastery intact. Mara answered questions with precision, taught with patience, and shared little of the pride that swelled within her. She did not need to claim victory. It had been witnessed. It had been earned. In the days that followed, reports circulated through the Arctic Recovery Unit. Senior officers praised her composure, juniors studied her method, but Mara herself remained reserved, aware that the lesson extended beyond her individual success. In every whispered recounting, the moral became clear. Respect is earned through discipline, mastery cannot be faked, and courage does not roar, it endures. Jackson, observing her quietly from a distance, reflected on a truth he had long known but rarely admitted. Those who endure impossible tests quietly are far more formidable than the loudest, most arrogant of commanders. In her he had glimpsed a rare quality, one that could shape not just missions, but the very ethos of the unit. Months later, the story of Mara Donovan and the frostbite wreck had become legend. Not the kind found in official reports or press releases, but the kind whispered in barracks, repeated in hushed tones at briefings, and taught informally to every new recruit who would one day face impossible tests. Her name became synonymous with calm mastery, unshakable patience, and quiet resilience. Other divers who followed in her path approached the wreck with newfound respect, aware that it had been conquered once, not by brute strength, but by discipline, preparation, and courage. Captain Jackson, who had once set nearly impossible challenges for his charges, now pointed to Mara's performance as the gold standard. She had redefined what was possible, not through arrogance or bluster, but through skill measured, honed, and executed under pressure no human should endure. Mara herself did not seek fame or recognition. She returned to her work, to dives that demanded focus and calm. Yet the lessons she had demonstrated resonated through the unit. To confront the impossible, one must first confront oneself. Arrogance and fear were fleeting adversaries. Discipline and mastery were permanent allies. In quiet moments beneath the frozen Arctic sky, she reflected on that dive, the labyrinth, the icy currents, the groaning wreck. Every detail remained etched in her memory, a testament to the trial that had shaped her. And when asked by new recruits what the key to surviving the frostbite wreck was, she would answer simply, her voice calm but resolute. Impossible is never defeated by strength. It is defeated by belief, preparation, and the patience to endure what others cannot even face. Her words, carried from mentor to trainee, from diver to diver, became more than instruction. They became a guiding principle, a moral that endured long after the Arctic ice claimed the evidence of her dive. And so, the legend of Mara Donovan, the young Navy diver who conquered the frostbite wreck, remained alive, not in stories shouted across decks or offices, but in the quiet nods, the silent respect, and the enduring pursuit of mastery over arrogance. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories from Histofy.